We are in Yaakov on page 57a2 in the Gemara Brachot. So it says Amar Rav Chia bar Abba. So again we continue going on dreams. Now we're looking at how Roeh Chitim b'Chalom, one who sees wheat in the dream, Ra'a Shalom, he beholds peace. Shenam, as it says, Hasam Gavulech Shalom. It is he who makes your borders peaceful. Chelev Chitam Yasbiech, with the cream of wheat he satisfies you. And what he explains is that, and it's from Psalms, and the verse associates peace with an image involving wheat. Okay, that's why when you see wheat in a dream, although for you guys it won't really matter because you're a farmer, so you're going to see wheat in your dreams and nightmares and everything else. You don't do wheat?
It's not prevalent in America. It's mostly corn and soybeans. We actually never see wheat in Indiana.
Really?
Canada, there was.
So what's these? I don't think I have it on the pennies. They call the Wheaties. I don't think
They have
the
wheat
things on the back of them.
There's a sheaf
What's the
of wheat.
symbology of that?
I don't know.
I think just good harvest and prosperity.
Could be
So
peace.
That's
Could be peace. I'm not sure why they put in the penny. So then it says, Amar Rav Zera, Ana lo salki mi Bavel la Eretz Yisrael. I did not ascend from Bavel, Babylon, to the land of Israel, ad chazai sa'are bechelma, until I saw the favorable sign of barley in my dream. And what's that? Taking this as a sign that he had achieved a new level of purity, he now felt worthy of living in the elevated spiritual environment of the land of Israel. It's interesting that people had to figure out, or the rabbis actually had to feel it to move to Eretz Yisrael from Bavel, that it was you need a sign to do that. Of course, I'm going to give you some background for that. There is a statement. I'm not sure if it's in this Gemara or the other Gemaras, but I'm not sure where it is. In other words, but there was I forget who said it. That one was not supposed to. It was a biblical injunction not to leave Galut. That's what, until the proper time. So that's why some people, unless you go, it's a Gemara in Gittin, I believe it was Gittin. So that's where you get the three Shavuos and everything else, the three oaths. You see the Gittin or Kedusha, I forget which one it was, but and so there's the one rabbi who wanted to go, and he didn't want to he didn't want his rabbi to know he was going because he had been told he shouldn't go, so on and so forth. But that may be where this is coming from, where Rav Zera is saying, I didn't merit to go, I didn't want to go from Bavel, from Galut to land of Israel until I saw barley, which would mean that I'm ready to go. Okay. So I wrote a geffen to una b'chalom. Let's see, one who sees a vine laden with grapes in the dream. So that is the sign that ein ishtam apelet nefalim, that his wife will not bear stillborn children, as the Shnei says. Eshtecha kegefen poria, your wife will be like a fruitful vine. So Reika, if you see a branch of vine in his dream, Yitzhak el Mashiach, he may expect the coming of the Mashiach. Shnei as it says, O sheligefen iro v'las Reika b'nei atono. He will tie his donkey to the vine, to the branch. Vine branch will be his donkey's foal. And it says this verse is interpreted as an oblique reference to the Messianic era. During that time, the vineyards of Judah will be so lush that the farmer will tie his donkey to a single vine, for it will produce as many grapes as a donkey can carry. Thus, this verse serves as a source for the associating divine vision of the donkey with the coming of the Mashiach. Yeah.
If you see a whole vine.
A whole vine, yes.
Yeah, that's for having non-stillborn children. And if you see a stem of a vine,
a branch of a vine.
But if you see a whole vine, surely you would also see a branch of a vine, no? Or what is that saying? You see it by itself?
Yeah, I'm seeing it by itself.
Okay.
I'm seeing a whole vine versus a single vine.
the whole vine to be just be growing up from the ground and spreading out. That means.
Right. You're a farmer. You see the whole thing as compared to I mean, if you look home to my backyard, I have a weed, a gigantic weed. I don't know what else you would call it, but it envelops everything. It's like a vine. It climbs over everything.
Yeah.
I've seen it all around this place. I think somebody brought it from some country to torture us. But it just climbs all over the lattice, over
Everybody's got those.
it just climbs like crazy.
Does it look like a maple leaf sort of?
I don't. Just looking. No, I don't think it looks like that. It has whites on. If you come to my backyard, then you would see it. It's all if I cut it down, it just grows back like weeds. I mean, it really.
You have to pull the whole thing out or else kill it somehow.
Yeah, it doesn't even help when you pull it out because I've tried that too. But it's. But my point is that right now is very full. Okay. And so when you're picturing it in your dream, you picture that whole thing, as compared to zeroing in on one single branch. Okay, that's all it's saying. You're seeing something. So either you saw the entire picture or you saw a small amount of the picture, or maybe it was a very thick one. Whatever. You're seeing a branch of a vine, and now you're going to. And again, you're going to be able to tie your donkey to that vine. Now, if you can tie a donkey to that vine and the donkey doesn't move, then you have a very thick vine there. Okay. I mean, if you just think about the visual here. So haroa te'ena v'chalom, somebody who sees a fig in his dream can be assured that Torato mishtamer pikirbo, that his Torah knowledge will be safeguarded within him. In other words, he will not forget his knowledge. That's assuming, of course, what we learned from halacha, that you close your book when you leave it, because that's bad for the memory. So you want to, if you see figs, it means you're going to be able to remember it. Shnamar, as it says, the proof is notzer te'ena yochal piria. The protector of a fig tree will eat its fruit. So it says the verse associates figs with the concept of protection. Hence, seeing figs portends that one's knowledge will be protected. Okay. Yeah.
Good question. So talking about seeing these different things. Of course, this is going back to the words of Chazal and what.
Actually, the Torah.
And what they knew about it, with the tradition that was
Tanakh,
handed down,
yeah.
that they're repeating here. So it's very ancient, and it's in certain part of the world around Eretz Yisrael. Here those things aren't so common. We don't see those things. We don't see grapevines here. We see grapes. We go to the store and buy grapes. But so you're talking about like association with things that you've seen in the past or in the immediate past or near whatever. We don't. Is there any modern thought about dreams of this type? Because again, these things are not so typically in our environment here.
Again, if you go back to what we were saying in the original part of this, when we started this whole chapter, chapter 9, we're dealing with dreams. It tells you that most dreams are from machinations in your mind.
Yeah.
And it's really nothing to consider. Now, what was go further and further on, what we're saying is, if you see this image in your mind, so that it could portend to something else. So we could see figs. I mean, we know what figs
could
look
pop
like.
into your mind.
Yeah. So again, in dreams, we've all experienced dreams. They don't make sense.
Right. There's something crazy.
Something crazy jumps into a dream.
Where did that come from? I never saw anything like that.
Right. Where did that come from? Or why did I think about that today? Yeah. Like I said, if I'm a farmer and I dream about wine or wheat, so that I don't think that's such a crazy thing. If I dream corn, if I dream all those things, I don't think much about it. Now the thing is, he's saying in this particular case. No, it's just the Gemara saying it. Yeah. So if you see these things, then again, it could be a sign to something.
You're saying that if it's not by some association you have in your mind, but it's something that just comes into your mind.
Right. Or, by the way, it could be association. Let's say you saw it. Again, when something doesn't make sense in the dream, so it doesn't make sense in the dream. And so now why did I see that? Or why did Hashem, remember everything, Hashem makes us see what we're going to see too. And the biggest thing about dreams is I remember them. Normally I dream, I don't remember what I dreamt.
You're saying the ones that are really impacting.
The ones that impact on you. So then, what I saw a vine, I saw a fig, I saw this, I saw that. So that you think, well, why did I see that? Why am I remembering that I saw that?
And you can't think of any reason that you saw it, right? So that's you say maybe that's a message.
Right, could be that. So I mean, that's how we have to think about it. That in any dream, why do I remember this particular scene? Now you had dreams. And you talked about your dreams with your mother and so on and so forth. I've had dreams with my parents. Are they talking to us from the other world? The answer is yes. How much do we take seriously? Okay, it's a different question. Do we start buying numbers? Do we start buying the ticket based upon the numbers they gave us in our dreams?
Yeah.
Why not? It's only $1. If you make it, you make it. If you don't, you don't. But really, I mean, that's really what we're looking at. What was the dream? Why did I suddenly see them? I'll never understand. I have a cousin that died when he was 18. I haven't thought of him. I mean, once in a blue moon, you think of the guy, but I hadn't thought about him for at least, I was 10 years old. So at least 30 years. It wasn't on my mind. It wasn't pressing on my mind. And suddenly I dreamt of the guy. So I thought it was strange. Was it your side? I couldn't figure out why. And by the way, it wasn't to your side. Your side is much later. And I remember the conversation. I remember what was going on. Amazing how the mind works, by the way, because the smell was even right. I remember the smell. The only difference was that I was my age and he was his age. That was the only difference. That was strange too, because he was coming into my mind as I am now. That was whoa, that's really cool. But you remember those dreams. You remember the conversation. You remember all this. So what was really going on there? Is Hashem telling me that my cousin needed me to do something? I had one person, I told you this. One of my uncle came to me and said, you have to say Kaddish for me. Yeah. That is the scariest dream in the world. That he says, you have to say Kaddish. They didn't say Kaddish for me. Whoa, what do you want from me? But he came to me because now it could be, I'm the religious guy of the family, and his kid doesn't care. The kid doesn't know I would say Kaddish. Who knows? Maybe the kid did say Kaddish. I don't want to say he didn't, but suddenly, again, I didn't have him on my mind. Why is he suddenly coming to me? That would have been 6 years after his death. I had no reason to be thinking of him. He was not my uncle. He's my uncle through marriage. So, and he came in late to the family. So it's not like I grew up with him. And that's what I'm saying. You have that. And when you have those dreams, they stick with you. So the question is, why did that happen? And you have to, now either I can say, like I said, maybe I should say, Kel Male from whatever the case is going to be, or do you say Kaddish? Do you learn a little Torah for them? What's going on? Was there really a message coming in, or was it just, for some reason, he was on my mind, and that's how it manifests itself? I don't know. But that's what you're doing here. Remember, just because I see a fig, just because I see these things, it doesn't mean necessarily these things will happen. It means that Hashem has given me, and I have to be tuned into that sign. And that's if I remember the verse. Let's say you saw a fig in your wheat in your dream, but you don't know what the verse is, so then it means nothing too. You hear what I'm saying? I have to associate these things. Otherwise, I'm just seeing things. Right? Yeah.
For you're talking about like for different dreams, like the one that you mentioned, like the lottery one. If you want to buy the ticket with the number, then why not? It's just $1.
Right.
But if you, like my question for that is, if you go for that dream, why not? But are you giving credence to the bad ones? If you can go along with the good ones, with the ones that are not bad or good, or just why not? Then can you also give credence to the bad ones?
Absolutely.
If it's something in the bad.
Absolutely. What the difference is, we learned this before, when I have a bad dream, I can choose to ignore it and not tell anybody, because that's like a letter that was delivered and never opened. So I don't know what's in it. I don't have to worry about it. I don't tell anybody. Nobody interprets it. or I tell somebody and they interpret my bad dream to be good. Like we saw many of those dreams. Okay, so if I'm wanting to just think about the bad dream and focus on that and say, okay, what evil is that portending to me? Well, guess what? It will. Again, these are self-fulfilling prophecies. If you believe that is going to hurt you, then it could very well hurt you. But now you're asking, and this was the Gemara asked before, is it you're hurting yourself because you're expecting it? Or is it really happening because there was a prophecy that's left in the air? So, like I said, if you have a bad dream, then the best thing is not to tell anybody, and then it can't come true.
You don't tell anybody you're going to go buy a lottery ticket because you saw this dream, right?
No, I said you pick the numbers. In the old days, they used to pick numbers.
Right. See,
they actually still do it today.
But not to tell anybody. You just saw a dream. Well, I may as well because it's not worth that much. So.
No, you tell people. I saw the ticket. My father gave me this number, and I'm going to do it. Why not?
So if you don't tell somebody and you do it anyways, then it doesn't matter at all?
It doesn't really. If you don't tell anybody, if nobody's interpreting it, yeah. So again, you interpreted it, so maybe that counts. But you bought the ticket. Again, are you going to win? The answer is, if Hashem wants you to win, you'll win. Yeah.
So if you're when you said you have to understand if you see a grapevine or if you see a
you'd have to know the verse.
But if you know the verse, that means you studied it. And if you studied it, that means if you dream of it, it's probably because you studied it.
No. If you go through the Torah or the Psalms, we do Psalms. I do Psalms every month, the book of Psalms. Okay, it splits into 29 to 30 days. So let's say you're reading that, okay, and you read it every day, and you're doing that for the rest of your life. So the words become regular in your mind, and now you're learning it. You learn Torah, and so you're doing it every single week. You're going through the Parshat Shavuot. You become fluent in Torah. You do it the same thing with Tanakh. Like every Jew should, by the way. Every Jew should know Tanakh by heart. I'm not saying we should quote it by heart, but we should know it. We should have a really good run of it. So now, if we're fulfilling our destiny as Jews, and we know the Gemaras and everything else, so then when we see something, we will be able to associate it with that. It's not necessarily that I'm studying it and that it comes out. You understand what I'm saying? It's two different things. It's I see this and I say, there's a verse. Oh, that's what this means. That's all. Sometimes I'm studying one and then I dream about that. Then you'd be right. If I'm studying my biology test and I'm studying whatever in biology, and suddenly I come up, or if I'm in Bill's French class and suddenly I see myself speaking French, I can associate that with his Je m'appelle Frère Nebel, right? I said it pretty good, no? There you go. There you go. Okay. But I can associate with that. Otherwise, but if I would start speaking Spanish, which I have no idea, except for what is it? Bueno, whatever. Si, senor, or there's some other things I think I know. But if or Portuguese or anything like that, which I really don't know the language, I don't think I do anyway. Okay, so maybe in my dreams I know the language, but I don't know the language to understand it. So that would be, if I see myself speaking there, I would have to, think about that. How was I speaking Spanish without knowing what I'm saying, by the way? Yeah. And again, in your dream, you know what you're saying, hopefully. Or, by the way, if you see what happens if you're reading the Torah and suddenly the words disappear, what does that mean? Again, in other words, you're no longer there, or the Torah is not complete. Again, you could say it's all stress dreams. You could throw all these things away: stress, this, that, the other thing. Okay, and you get away with that. Or you can start thinking, well, what does this mean? Is it a good omen? Is it a bad omen? What's the Torah say about these omens? What does the Torah say about these visions? And so on and so forth. And so, again, only if somebody who's immersed in this world will be able to do that. If you're not immersed in the world, then you're just having dreams. And you wouldn't know what it's referring to. Okay. Haroa Rimonim. So now somebody who sees pomegranates in his dream, b'cholam in his dream. So zutri, if they're small, pare iske krimona. So then it means his business will become fruitful. Did we do this?
That sounded familiar. When we started talking about pomegranates, remember?
Yeah.
Oh, and then the large one would expand.
Yeah. So why we didn't move the page?
I thought you got on to 57B already someplace. Or A4 or something, was it?
No. I think we ended at the pomegranate.
Okay, I'll do it again. That's a big deal.
We haven't done all of them.
Okay. I'll just run through it. No big deal. So if they're large, this sounds very familiar.
Yeah.
So if they're large, good Baruch Hashem, we did something. Okay. Rove aske kiroma. So then it means his business will increase like a pomegranate. Palge. If on the other hand, once he's a split pomegranate, yam tamachalcham. If he's a tamachalcham, so yitzapel the Torah, he may anticipate attaining further Torah knowledge. Shenamar says Ashkecha miyayin harekach ma'asim rimone. I will give you a drink from the spiced wine, from the juice of my pomegranates. Im ama'aretzu. If he's ama'aretz, so yitzapel the mitzvot, he can anticipate to a mitzvot. Shemar kipelach harimon rekatech. So like a section of pomegranates are your temples. Ma rekatech. What does it mean? Your temples. Filu reikanen shebecham. Oh, that's right. That's where we stopped. Right. Even the empty ones among you are as full of mitzvot as the pomegranate is full of seeds. Okay, fine. I guess that's what we got to. So, if one sees olives in his dream, so zotri, if they're small, so pri v'ravi kai is kekezetim. One can expect that his business will be more fruitful, and increase. Moreover, will endure as do olives. And he says the Gemara here seems somewhat stilted for records and interpretation for small olives, but not large ones. Okay. So the verse associates olive leaves with fertility. Thus, when a person sees olive leaves, the direct subject of this verse, his dream is taken as a portent of literal fertility. That is, he will have many children. When, however, the dream focuses on actual olives, then the blessings of fertility is construed in the realm of economics. His business will prosper. It will be fruitful and increase. Indeed, in ancient times, olives were a staple of economic life, as they provided a ready source of energy in the form of olive oil. Okay. Good. So he says, "Vahani mili." These words apply with the fruit of the olive tree. Pri aval ilani. But this way, if somebody sees the olive trees themselves, having lebanim merubin, so he'll have many children. Shenamar, as it says, "Banecha kishtile zeitim." Your children will be like olive shoots. Ika ta'armid. There are those who say it went like this: Ha'izroa zayit b'chalom. One who sees olives in his dreams. Shem Tov Yotze Lo, that a good name will emerge from him. Notice he's going to have a good reputation. Shneimar, as it says, Zayed Ra'anan, Yefei Pri To'ar Kara Hashem Shmech. God has called your name a leafy olive tree, a beautiful with shapely fruit. Haro Hashem and Zayed B'chalom. As for one who sees olive oil in a dream, Yisapeh, the Ma'or Torah, we can anticipate perceiving the light of the Torah. Shnamar, as it says, V'yichu elecha Hashem and Zayed Zach. They shall take for you pure pressed olive oil for illumination, to kindle a lamp continually. And since it's talking about lamps, so the verse speaks of olive oil as a source of the eternal flame in the tabernacle. Thus, the vision of olive oil is seen as connoting spiritual illumination, such as Torah. In addition, the menorah in the temple is seen as symbolic of the light of Torah. So again, if you're seeing all these things, they are good for you. Roa tamarim b'chalom. Let's say you saw dates in the dream. Tamu avonotav. It means your sins have ended. Shnamar, as it says, Tam avonech batzion, expiated. Or Tam, that's what wiped out. Is your iniquity, your daughter of Zion? Rav Yosef said, Haroa is b'chalom. You see a goat in your dream. You can expect Shana mit barechet lo. The forthcoming year will be blessed for him. Izim. Let's say you saw many goats. You saw one goat, you can expect a good year. So many goats, Shana mit barechet lo. So many years will be blessed for him. Shneimar v'dei chalev izem l'lachmecha. Let the milk of the goats be sufficient for your food. So you're seeing that as we increase with what we see, if it's good, our good increases. Okay. Let's continue. So Aroa hadas b'chalom. One sees a myrtle branch in the dream. So nechasav matzlichano. His assets will perform successfully for him. So in Vayikra, it describes a myrtle as one of the species that one you have to take on for the sukkah. The leaves of this plant grow in clusters of 3, with successive rows of leaves mimicking the pattern of a plied or a braid. This elegant formation symbolizes prosperity. The dreamer's assets will be arranged well and productively, like the neatly arranged leaves of the myrtle. We all know what a myrtle is, right? You know what a myrtle is. Okay. So, yeah. Where was it? If he does not have any assets, then the dream will indicate that an inheritance will fall for him from some other place, and he will attain assets. So here you dream of a hadas, and you have something, so that means it's going to be really great. Let's say you have nothing, fine. You're going to be inheriting something. Amar Ula, so Ula said, or some report that was starting to bright said, Vuhu dechaza b'chanayhu. The above, what we just said, with the increasing of nechasim, applies only where the dreamer saw the myrtle branches still upon its base. That in other words, still attached to the ground in the place of their growth. Haroa etrog b'chalom. If you see an etrog, so what happens? Hador hu lifnei kono. The person is beautiful in the eye of his maker. Shneimar, it says, Pri eitz hadarka potamarim. You should take for yourselves the fruit of a beautiful tree, the branches of date palms. And since the Torah characterizes an etrog as the fruit of the beautiful tree, hence the association is made between his dream image, and the dreamer's spiritual beauty in the eyes of God. So, I can see everybody's going to be dreaming about these things tonight, right? Haroeh lelulav b'chalom, and I guess it's not sukkahs. Okay, one sees a lulav in his dream. So what's that? Ein lo ela leva chad lavi b'shamayim. He has just one heart whose allegiance is solely to Hashem. And he explains the Gemara speaks of a date palm as having only one heart, and is thus symbolizing Israel's single-minded devotion to Hashem. Rash explains the notion of the date palm's one heart as meaning that the sap of this tree flows only through its trunk, whereas the sap of other trees flows into its branches. We didn't get that. Haroa avaz b'chalom, one who sees a goose in his dream. Oh, there you go. He can anticipate wisdom. Shneimar, it says, Chachmo b'choch tarona. Wisdom cries out in the street, v'haba aleha, and if the vision, he cohabits with it, then have a Rosh Yeshiva. He will ascend to become the head of the academy. Okay, we're getting to crazy dreams. So it says a honking cry of the goose, among the loudest of any bird, is associated with a cry of wisdom that blares through the streets. The head of an academy proclaims his words to the masses of the people, hence his voice is compared to the loud cry of the goose. As noted above, the dream image of cohabitation with a certain partner is seen as conveying a sense of union with an attribute associated with that partner. Hence, cohabitation with a goose connotes union with, and consequently fulfillment of, the attribute of wisdom. The dreamer is thus portrayed as ascending to a post requiring great wisdom, that of a head of an academy. Okay, I'm not sure how these things actually work, so we'll just leave certain visions to themselves, your imagination. Amar Rav Ashi said, Ani re'itiha uvati aleh. In a dream, I once saw a goose and cohabited with it. And I indeed rose to prominence. So we have a proof of this dream process. And he became the head of the academy in Masa Machashia. Okay. Haroa Tangul V'Chalom. He sees a male, a rooster. In the dream, Yitzhak ben Zachara, he can anticipate the birth of a male child. Tangulim, if he sees more than one of these roosters, Yitzhak Banim Zachara, he can anticipate the birth of several male children. Tangolet, you see a hen. What happens there? Yitzhak Avagila. He can anticipate attaining a beautiful garden and having cause for rejoicing. You would have thought it should have been girls, right? Or that should have been right.
Yeah.
No, it's not that. You can anticipate attaining a beautiful garden, having cause for joy, so fine. And he says, what's going on there? The Hebrew word for a hen, tangola, can be seen as an acronym for tarbitza na'eh, a beautiful garden, and gila, and rejoicing. Okay, so that's why it didn't follow what we would think is going to happen. And there's one other thing, that a male child is better for the guys because, they're workers. Let's face it, if I have guys, they can clean out they can do the farming. You didn't have the women doing that. And the women also didn't stay with the family. They would get married. And they would go to the next family. So they're not continuing that on. So there's a lot of reasons why, logically, you would want the boy versus the girl. You want to increase your family, not looking to increase the other family. Not say chasson that girls aren't good, but it's not going to be helping you out financially. Actually, it's going to be taking away from you financially, if you think about it. Especially what happens if you give the girl some land, and then she has children. And then and you gave it to her as a gift, so that's not part of the inheritance anymore. So now she takes the produce, and she actually takes that land, and the produce, and that goes to, again, the husband's family. So there's a lot of reasons why I can see them not wanting to go that way. Fine.
If you look down this list, the worldview, it has to do with farms. Mm-hmm. It's so removed from us. It was probably 99.9% of the people were in agriculture. Mm-hmm. Now we're like 0.5% as a country.
Oh, so I want you to think about this. It's not true. It's not so true what we're saying, because in Bavel they weren't all farmers. In Bavel, for the most part, they were working in the system. Okay. They didn't have land.
Okay.
If you'd be in Israel, you'd have land. But in Bavel, I don't think most people had land. So I think they were merchants and what do they call it? What is it? Cobblers. And they were also with the horseshoes, blacksmiths. There were a lot of people like that, and they weren't given land. Some of them were, but I'm just saying it wasn't the major industry to be a farmer. It's not to say, not take away what you're saying. It could have been that's what we're looking at. But at the same time, if you were a farmer, though, and you would see a chicken in your dream or a rooster, you wouldn't think twice of it. Mm-hmm. So again, that's another thing we have to keep remembering, that if I see these things, they're strange. Why am I seeing it? To what end? And the end is that Hashem has given me a message. I mean, that's how you really wanted to see that. So now, Haroa Beitzim B'Chalom. One who sees eggs in a dream. It means Taluya B'Kashato. His wish is held in suspension. Why? It cannot be predicted whether his wish will be fulfilled, just as the edible portion of an egg is concealed within the shell and cannot be seen. Okay? Now, Nish Tabru, if the egg was broke, if you saw the egg that broke, Nasit Bakashato, that means his wish will be fulfilled. When an egg breaks, its edible contents are revealed. Thus, this dream symbolizes that the person's wish will now be fulfilled. And also nuts. V'chein kishuvim, and also cucumbers. Same thing applies. If you see them closed, it means your wish is suspended. If you see them open, cracked, whatever, opened, so that means everything is clear. It's going to happen. V'chein kol kli zuchuchet, or any of the types of glassware. V'chein kol hishbaron ke'elu, or for a dream that involves anything that can break easily, like these mentioned above. So again, if you see it intact, which is held in suspension, but otherwise it's going to happen. Hanichnas l'krach. If a person he sees himself entering a large town, then nasa lo chavatzav, his desires shall be fulfilled. Shneimar, it says, "V'yanchem ha'machos chefsam," and he guided them to their desired harbor. And it says in Psalms, the simple meaning of the verse is that God comes to the aid of sailors, rescuing them from the fright of the storm and guiding them safely to their port of destination. The verse juxtaposes the word machos, harbor or town, with the theme of one's desire or wishes, chefsam. Thus, the dream, a vision of entering a town is associated with the fulfillment of desires. And you see yourself coming to a safe port. That's the point. Wherever the safe port is. So if you find yourself hidden in the woods and suddenly you find the town, that means that your dreams will be fulfilled. Okay. Or if I really update this, I'm driving on the highway.
Yeah.
How many times have we driven on the highway? Now again, you could say it's because I drove on the highway that I had this dream, but it's a never-ending dream when you're on the highway because you're trying to get to some place. So the question is, or if you're a New Yorker and you're on the subways, do you ever get off that subway? Do you ever, whatever it's going to be, you have the bus. Do I get out of the traffic jams? All these things, what we live through. So again, is it that now I'm dreaming this? If I'm dreaming and I get to my safe harbor, what he's saying is when you get to your safe harbor, so now you know your dream, your desire will be fulfilled. That's what it means. Okay, that's what Hashem telling you. Hamagaleach rosho b'chalom, one who cuts shaves, one who cut the hair from his head in a dream. Siman Yafelo, it's a good favor, it's a good omen for him. Rosha, who's a Kainov, let's say he cut the hair from his head in his beard, and then it's lo l'chol mishpatot, then it's good for he and his entire family. So apparently they want us to get haircuts. Okay, Torah says that, excuse me, shortly after Yosef was appointed viceroy of Egypt, he took a haircut and changed his clothes. Thus, the vision of cutting one's hair is taken as a portent of one who will soon ascend to the greatness. Fine. So that's why that happens. If one sees himself sitting in a small boat, it's a sign, Shem Tov Yoshilo, that a good name will go off for him. Why? Because just as he is traveling afar in his dreams, so his good reputation will be spread even to faraway places. Ba'areva Gedola, he sees himself in a big boat. Lo cholam mishpato. So then again, he and the entire family will get the benefits of a good name. Hani Mili, this applies to medallia deluye. If the boat is lifted up high, it's riding upon the crests of the waves. Otherwise, I wouldn't. If you're in a submarine, I don't think it's going to be good. If one dreams that he went to the bathroom, siman yafelo, so that is a good sign for him. Shneimar mihar tzuel lihipateach, one who must void hastened to be opened. He says the verse describes Israel's enemy as being exceedingly weak, plagued as it were by diarrhea. The verse, however, proceeds to state, and he will not die in the pit. By defecating regularly, the enemy saves himself from death, a fate that otherwise might await him should he fail to fulfill his bodily needs. Thus, the verse indicates that the vision of defecating is a auspicious omen, for it portrays this act as one who saves a person from death. Okay? I'm sorry. Let me just finish that thought. And it says, "V'hani mili delo kinech." This only applies to where one does not wipe himself. In other words, his hands remained clean. If he wiped himself, they may have become swollen with excrement. Yeah. Just say it.
If you have speaking from experience, like when I remember this because I was about 7 or 5 years old. I was dreaming. I had used the bathroom. I woke up. I had used the bathroom.
Correct.
So
People dream that they would go to the bathroom.
right.
Okay, but they really don't go because we control ourselves when you're 5 and 7, whatever the case is going to be. But people dream that they go to the bathroom. So, and then of course, what's really going on? Your body's telling you need to go to the bathroom. That's clear.
Right.
Okay, but and so you'll ultimately wake up and you'll realize I have to go to the bathroom. Fine, but in your dream you feel yourself going to the bathroom. You felt yourself. You went to the bathroom. And then it's amazing how that works, by the way, because you really didn't go. So your body, as it were, is a little more relaxed, but then within a couple more minutes, you're going to have another dream that you have to get to the bathroom again. And you keep having to go until you finally wake up. So now here, let's say somebody saw themselves defecating. So that, he's saying that is a good thing, because what you've done is, it means you saved yourself from death. Because what happens, in reality, if we hold it in other words, we're awake, and we say, oh, I have time, you can hurt yourself badly, because your body's telling you have to relieve yourself, you need to defecate, or you need to urinate, whatever the case is going to be, and now if you hold it in, your back is backing the system up. You don't want to do that. That's why it says, once you get the feeling, you should go to the bathroom and relieve yourself. Otherwise, it can cause a lot of headaches for you and down the line. And just think about a toilet. When you don't flush it fast enough. If you let it, if you didn't flush it every other time, whatever. And so now when you want to flush it, suddenly it's too much to go through, and now you have to use a plunger and so on and so forth. So you don't want that to happen to your body. Okay. If somebody went to the dream, somebody went up to the roof in his dream, he will rise to prominence, Yerad. If in the dream he then descended, that means he's going to descend from his position of prominence. So you have a negative too. Abaye v'Rava, the army to Abaye and Rava both say, Kevan sha'Allah, once one is risen to prominence, Allah, he remains there. And therefore the vision of descending does not portend to his losing his status. They didn't like that, so they said, no, it doesn't mean that. Okay. If one tears his clothes in his dream, they are tearing up the harsh decree of judgment against him. Okay. Here's one that people see. One that sees himself standing naked in a dream. And so now the meaning of the vision depends on where in the dream the person was situated. So if he saw himself standing naked Bavel in Babylon, so it means he stands without sin. If he saw himself naked in Eretz Yisrael, it means Aron below mitzvot. He is naked with the benefit of performing mitzvot. There you go. If I'm in Bavel, if I dream in Bavel, then it's better off than if I dream in Eretz Yisrael naked. So what's going on there? It says there are many commandments that one can fulfill only while living in the land of Israel, and thus finding oneself clothed naked in this land symbolizes that he has failed to quote unquote clothe himself with the mitzvot available to him. Land outside Eretz Yisrael, however, has no special merit attached to it. On the contrary, most of its inhabitants commit great sins. Thus, standing naked in a place other than the land of Israel indicates that the person is free of the sins associated with that place of dwelling. One other thing about that, normally when you see yourself naked, it means that you're having anxiety dreams. Okay? But again, if you want to take it this way, if you see yourself naked, it means you're standing without sin. I'd rather go for that than anxiety dreams. So, okay. Whatever. And unless you yourself in Eretz Yisrael, then you're in big trouble. Then I advise you starting to do everything really quick. Nidpas, this radio. So if one was seized by a Roman officer, Shmira Nasid Lo, this indicates that special heavenly protection has been established for him. The officer guards him to prevent his escape. This is seen as an omen that he will be guarded and protected from harm. Nitanu bekolar, if he dreams he was put into chains, then hosifalo shmir al shmirto, then Hashem has added protection upon protection. Beautiful. Hanimili, these words apply bekolar when he saw himself placed in actual chains. Aval chavla ba'almalo, But if he was bound in ordinary robe, doesn't apply. Then I'm not sure what happens. It may not be a good omen for you. Okay, we'll have to stop there. Now, so we're on 57A4, and that's where we are.